Welcome back, everybody, to the channel Amateur Hour Sports. We are here today for a big game in the NBA universe. We got the Cleveland Cavaliers visiting the Boston Celtics for Game 1 of this Eastern Conference semi-final battle. And in this one, the Celtics, well, they're coming in as favorites. They are by far and away the favorites to win the NBA championship. That remains the case here. Personally, I feel as though this is a pretty easy matchup for them in the second round. Kind of looked like all the way through that series between the Orlando Magic and the Cleveland Cavaliers for the right to play the Boston Celtics that neither team really had any business competing with the Boston Celtics, and it was just more so a case of, hey, somebody's got to win here. But yeah, I kind of wish we had maybe the Sixers. If Joel Embiid had more of a healthy season, they could have been in this position here. Or, I don't know. It doesn't really feel like Cleveland are that serious of a 4 seed, and Orlando weren't that serious of a 5 seed either. Cleveland just had that really good run. They had like a 20-game run where they won 19 games or something, and then other than that, they were bang-ass average. But as it is, Boston with a pretty easy path, seemingly to the conference finals. Or do they? Let's see what the Cleveland Cavaliers can throw in here. Cleveland is like 13-point underdogs. Boston is a monstrous favorite to win this series, but you never know when it comes to basketball. I certainly would not have pegged the Minnesota Timberwolves to win both games in Denver. So, you never know when it comes to sport. Let's see how the Cleveland Cavaliers fare here. Honestly, if this one goes south, you know me, I ain't a Boston Celtics fan. If this one gets ugly, I got no problem shutting her down here and ending this maybe a little bit early. But, we'll get to at least the third quarter before any decision as such comes to be. Because, if it's that bad by the half, then we have a pretty entertaining basketball game to watch. But thanks so much for joining me, everybody. Hope y'all are doing very well here. I'm excited to be back on the channel here. Going to be guaranteed this stream plus one other stream this week. I try to stream Tuesdays, Thursdays. May not be a Thursday stream this week, but what there will be this week. We're finally less than a week away, guys. Sunday, May 12th is NBA Draft Lottery Day. I will be live for the Draft Lottery. I'll be live ahead of the Draft Lottery to preview everything. I'll be live after the Draft Lottery concludes to try and make sense of it all and answer questions. I know there will be some burning questions regarding the Toronto Raptors and where they may or may not end up in the lottery, because it's no guarantee the Raptors will have a position in the lottery or with the lottery picks after the conclusion. In fact, there's a 55% chance that they will not have a pick in the lottery positions. But, we'll get when we get there. We'll watch it all along together as it happens. Get started here, guys. If you're ready to see some... If you're ready to watch me watch basketball, hit that like button. Support the show. We got some people out in chat here, especially some members here. Thank you guys for joining in. We got Winner One, Doug B, Sumaya out here. Daniel Berry Sports highlights as well. Happy Tuesday indeed. How was dinner? Dinner was pretty good. We're on the last legs of our grocery cycle here in the apartment. So I just made I guess I just made I don't know. I can't label the sandwich anything. It was just a bunch of different toppings on a ham sandwich with turkey bacon. And then we don't have ketchup, but I made fries. So I made like, I don't know, animal style fries. I just threw a bunch of shit on the fries as well. I put like mayo, mustard, guacamole that I made homemade as well. Tomato, a bit of onion, a bit of pickles. It was actually really good. That was my dinner. Kind of threw stuff together, but it was good. Food's always good. You just got to make it right way. You got to make it right. Take your time. Put in the work to enhance the taste of it all. But that's what it is. I am excited for this. My favorite brewery, Great Lakes Brewery, out in Etobicoke, makes my favorite beer in the world. Octopus Wants to Fight is one of the beers they make. And every year around American Thanksgiving, they make a New England-style version of the Octopus Wants to Fight beer, which Octopus Wants to Fight, you can fight at your local LCBO pretty much anytime. The New England style is only once a year, only at their brewery. Well, they decided to make an Octo 4-pack with 4 different beers, and one of them is, thankfully, the New England style Octopus Wants to Fight. Now, I just realized that I'm having this New England style beverage while a Boston sports team is in action that I very much would like to lose this game, but that's okay. Let's share the moment on stream. My number one favorite beer, at least at the very basement, it's top 3 in the world that I've had. But I think it's my favorite. Let's pour it up. Oh, I'm not even showing you the pour. But that's a great pour. That's 10 out of 10 pour right there. A little bit of extra space because this is a 16-ounce beer in an 18-ounce glass. Nonetheless, Octopus Wants to Fight. The 6.2% New England style IPA. Cheers, everybody. Let's have a happy Tuesday, and hopefully we get a good basketball game here. So smooth, man. Oh, my God. Oh, my goodness. So smooth. Fresh from the brewery, because I got it delivered from the brewery. Man. If that ain't the best beer, I sure as hell want to know what is. Smooth, hazy, right amount of bitterness. 10 out of 10 beer. No, I'm like 10. I could, you know what? We'll call it a 9, a 9.7. Maybe something can surpass that one day. That's a 9.7 though. GR Jr., what's going on? Anyways, back to the basketball here. So, yeah, I guess something somewhat interesting about this game is the absence of Kristaps Porzingis, which, well, in turn, I guess it doesn't give the Celtics quite as much floor spacing as a result. I personally think they still will be very much okay without Kristaps Porzingis for this series. If we have Jared Allen completely healthy for this series, I think maybe things go a little bit different here. But yeah, with Jared Allen's injury, there's not going to be quite enough size to disrupt the Celtics. So, you know, I could see Cleveland maybe getting a couple wins in this series if they have Allen and the Celtics don't have Porzingis. But as it stands, the Celtics just have way too much firepower. Derek White's been sensational in the playoffs. Tatum and Brown, you know, they're just going to consistently give you points. Horford's doing a job out there. There's just a little bit too much on this team for the Cleveland Cavaliers to handle. Garland, who has struggled for 2 seasons now, immensely struggled in round 1. I think he'll continue to struggle in this series with his matchups. Drew Holiday involved is going to be difficult to combat with as well. Yeah, I just don't really see the path to success here for the Cavaliers in any way whatsoever. They struggled against Orlando in a lot of ways. This is just a completely different beast. Yeah. Cavs. You know, the Celtics, they'll probably throw away a game as they always do. They're prone to losing games, beating themselves. I'll give the Cavaliers a game here, but Celtics probably take this one in 5 or less. What do you guys think? How many Boston always find a way to beat themselves, give up a game. You know, a couple years ago, I just remember they swept the Nets, but definitely I associate Boston with imploding, and thankfully for them, Cleveland are not good enough to really expose that consistently, but I can very much see Boston giving up a game in Cleveland. But no, I think this is a 5. This is 5. I don't want to see Boston win either. I'm just trying to call it how I see it. How many games do you think this one goes, guys? What do you guys think? I guess jump shot heavy. Sometimes the shots don't go down. I suppose. But I don't think that's it's. I wouldn't label it as maybe as simply as that. I think you're right in some cases. This series, I wouldn't go and say that, like just because like shots aren't falling. I think it's when Cleveland get the Celtics into a game state where they're taking the bad shots, they're reverting to their bad habits, like settling for mid-range jumpers, settling with just Tatum and Brown, taking guys off the dribble. I think when Boston get in those bad habits typically come out in key settings of big games, tight games, late in games. But if Cleveland can get the Celtics playing in that sort of state, yeah, they could sneak a win, maybe even two. But I especially without Jared Allen, I very much struggle to see the Cleveland Cavaliers doing that on a consistent basis. So it would simply just have to be Allen comes back, he's healthy, and no Porzingis. That's the only way some shit could go down here for the Cleveland Cavaliers in this series. But, hey, I would love if the Cavaliers were to upset the Celtics here. That'd be awesome. That'd be great. That'd be a lot of fun. And I think it'd be also fun because that would give New York a bigger chance of getting to the finals and potentially playing against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Man, imagine a Timberwolves versus Knicks series. I mean, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself here, but Timberwolves are favorite out of the West now, for sure. If we get a Knicks-Timberwolves series, that is going to be war for 6 to 7 games. That would be immensely entertaining. Immensely entertaining. You can't tell me any otherwise. I have been locked into work all day. Absolutely locked into work today. I saw something went down with Drake. A security guard got shot at Drake's Toronto mansion. Wow, that's. Look, this is an entertainment industry. We're enjoying the music, but this is taking it too far. This is just completely unnecessary. That's a shame. That's a shame. Security guard got injured. Thankfully, it looks like he will survive. But yeah, that's taking it too far. That's kind of ruining the beef. We're really enjoying this beef, but this is gonna. The stuff like this is gonna ruin it. So, come on, people. I don't know none of you are doing it, but come on, world. Like, I don't know what to say. It's a shame. This is a shame for sure. Absolutely a shame. Music been treating us well though. Let's keep it. Let's keep it on. Let's keep it on Spotify. Let's keep it on Apple Music. Let's keep it there. Let's not make this physical. Verbal assault only. I hope 7. I think 5 or 6 for this series. Yeah, Cleveland getting 3 wins would shock me beyond belief. I mean, just absolutely cannot see it. Absolutely cannot see it. Not really sure how anyone could call us the way of the Cavaliers. In fact, I think it was ESPN. They picked their series winner. I'm not even sure anybody said 7 games. Let me just double check on that. I'll pull the page up that I saw. Sorry, I gotta find it on Twitter. Just give me 1 second here. Let me pull this up. Where is it? Here we go. Yeah, not a single ESPN analyst has the Celtics in 7. However, not a single analyst has the Celtics in 4 either. So maybe thinking along the lines of we're thinking where Celtics are going to give up a game. But it's a 5 or 6 game series according to everybody who had a say at ESPN of the 16 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 said 6. 10 said in 5. I'd say Cavaliers in 5. I'm a little bit surprised not a single person said a sweep. I guess you don't want to, what's the word? Like you kind of give yourself damage limitations as an analyst if you say 5. At least you can say, man, I thought they'd sweep them and they lost the series. But there was a comment by a Celtics fan who said, I'd be disappointed if it went to 6, which I would probably agree with from a Celtics fan perspective here. This should be a neat and tidy gentleman's sweep for this series. I started a little bit later than normal today, mostly because for these games start really late, so there's no need to start 30 minutes before the scheduled start time because the games start 15 minutes late. So, went with a quarter to the start time for today. And also, I just don't really have a lot to say about this series. I think Boston just in every which way will have the advantage here. Maybe other than size, but without Jared Allen, that's not going to be the case. Listen, I know we have fun poking at Evan Mobley because there was the Rookie of the Year saga between Scotty Barnes and Evan Mobley, went down to the wire. Ultimately, Scotty Barnes did win the Rookie of the Year award, but when it comes to Evan Mobley, man, there needs to be a serious conversation about what does Cleveland look like long term, because on a year-to-year basis, it's pretty clear that the team is being held back by its lack of spacing. And the lack of spacing stems from Jared Allen and Evan Mobley having to be on the floor so often together. And if you're going to move on from one of those players, there needs to be a serious conversation about whether or not that is going to be Evan Mobley that you move on from. Because Jared Allen has had another outstanding season here. I think he brings more to that role than Evan Mobley does. Like, I think it's one thing if, Evan Mobley's a fantastic player, don't get me wrong. But Evan Mobley needs to play with a big who can space the floor. And even still, even if you do give Evan Mobley space, he's got very limited offensive bag. No self-creation injection to the team whatsoever. He's just he just run and dunk type of guy on offense. On defense, look, he's absolutely outstanding, but he can't shoot. He's a non-shooter. He could hit 4 shots in a row. Nobody would guard him on the perimeter. He's a non-shooter. Just dunks the ball. Finishes lobs. Pretty much it. And more so of the style of what a 5 brings to your team. But he's very much a power forward. Jared Allen brings more offensively, even though he's similar. And I think he's going to be a lot cheaper. Jared Allen makes $20 million a year. Evan Mobley's extension eligible this summer. How much do you think Evan Mobley is going to make? I think there seriously needs to be a conversation around Evan Mobley. I do. I'm not even sure Evan Mobley got a Defensive Player of the Year vote this year. Let me just double check. If anybody didn't see, Rudy Gobert has officially won the Defensive Player of the Year award. Yeah, it's official now, but we knew probably a couple months ago that he was going to win the award. He was by far the favorite. Everybody knew it was going to be him. But now it's official. I want to find the results of the Defensive Player of the Year voting. I want to see if Evan Mobley managed to even sneak out a vote for the award. Yeah, no. Yeah, I tell you did. One third place vote went to Jared Allen. Not a single vote went to Evan Mobley. I don't know who voted Sabonis. Sabonis got 1 vote for third place. Derek White actually got some. Drew Holiday got a first place vote. Whoever fucking did that, fire him. Herb Jones, look at that, number 4. Or number 5, but it was Rudy Gobert who finished as the top over there. Bottom line, Cavs got to make a decision here. And the Donovan Mitchell era ain't going to last that much longer. So a complicated conversation needs to be had by Cleveland in the offseason, I believe. They also need to get a better coach, but Mobley can't shoot, man. Mobley can't shoot. He'll be wide open in a corner, hit a couple a month. But no, that guy is a non-shooter. Absolute non-shooter. All right. It looks like we're about to get started here. Watch Evan Mobley drop like a masterclass in front of my eyes here. We'll see. Any score predictions? What's your score prediction for this one? I am going to go... I don't think the Cavaliers score 100. I am going to go 105-93 for the Celtics. No, that's too low scoring. Let's go 109-97. 109-97. Celtics win by 12. 109-97. Doug has Celtics 117, Cavs 104. Curry Bros is 108-98. Yeah. I don't think Cleveland get 100, but game has begun here. Let's get her on. Let's get it on. So big matchup. Well, not big matchup. I guess the big matchup will be Derek White and Donovan Mitchell, but I don't know. There's no key matchup here because the Celtics have so many ways to hurt the Celtics, or the Cavs, excuse me, as Jaylen Brown connects for 3, the first bucket of the game. Sorry, fixing a setting here. Sorry, some technical issue on my end. And yeah, I'm not going to be able to fix it here. It is what it is. 3-0 Celtics. Sorry. As I was saying, Mobley got the mismatch on Derek White, still couldn't score. Jaylen Brown to the rim, fouled by Mobley there. Mobley had the mismatch, took too long, couldn't find his spot, and then Al Horford came with the help and devoured his layup attempt. I don't know why, I still hold a grudge with Mobley. I mean, what I say is truthful about how I feel about his abilities. But I think part of it is maybe the severity I go is still hanging on to the grudge from the Rookie of the Year campaign between him and Barnes. I don't know why, but I am serious. The Cavs need to have a conversation about maximizing the Mitchell era. But it will be crazy. I think it's a year when Donovan Mitchell becomes a free agent. I think Jaylen Brown making both free throws. There's Jared Allen, key player for the team on the bench. Let me look at Donovan Mitchell's contract. I believe there's one more year. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I still hold a bit of a grudge there, but I do. It's like I guess I didn't do something. It was just my grudge is just the almost smear campaign Raptors fans ran for Scotty Barnes. I don't know. He didn't do anything wrong. Just part of me still wants to look for the deficiencies in Evan Mobley's game. You know what I mean? And I think part of it is Cavaliers fans who continue to try and preach that Mobley was robbed of that Rookie of the Year. You know what? That's what it is. It's not Mobley. It's the fans who still believe he was robbed. And it's the fans who try and say that Mobley's better or something. No. That's the grudge. That's the grudge. I just unlocked what it is. It's not against Evan himself. Evan Mobley's done nothing wrong that I know of. Anyways, 5-2 for the Celtics here. Mitchell just got himself a nice bucket on the inside, but Jaylen Brown's heading back to the line. He's got 5 points already. We've played 2 minutes and 1 second here. Jaylen Brown on the free throw. First one is good. Second free throw for Brown is good. 7 points for the Celtics. 7 points for Jaylen Brown. Another miss there for the Cavaliers. I mean, they need to start somewhat positively to have a chance in this game. Derek White for 3 is good. 10-2 Celtics. Timeout already for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And this one is seemingly already starting to perhaps get out of hand here. Yeah. Not a great scene overall for Cleveland thus far. Random question. Do you like Alex Sarr as a prospect? Yes, absolutely. As of right now, I would have him number 1 on my mock draft board. A lot can change, but and it kind of depends who's in the position. Fit may actually play in a little bit to who goes first this year. But to me, Alex Sarr looks like the player that should be the number 1 overall pick at this time. I think if the Raptors had the first overall pick, they would be drafting Alex Sarr and figuring out Fit later. But I do like him. Starting to kind of grind on some previews for the draft. I've been, admittedly, I'll let you guys know now, I've been doing a lot of top 6 potential picks in this stretch of videos because if the Raptors don't get lottery luck, I can never make those videos again. But whereas I can continue to make videos about middle of the first round and second round pick prospect previews, but I can do those regardless. But if I wait to do a video on a guy like Ron Holland, who I did a video on yesterday, then I may not be able to ever do a video on him. So it just gives me more flexibility to create content going forward. Anyway, you have been enjoying the draft profile videos. The next one will be tomorrow. I'll be looking at Reed Shepherd tomorrow. And I've already done quite a bit of a deep dive. These ones take a while to prepare for, so it's not like I can do a day of like I do other videos. Been preparing for this one, and I certainly like what I see for Reed Shepherd. Whereas maybe for some other guys, haven't been ultimately super in love with what I've seen. I can definitely see why this has been considered to be a lesser draft class. Doesn't mean there's not talent here, but usually when I do draft preparation and draft content, I look at like the top 4, 5, 6 guys in the draft and go, man, like there is just really nothing wrong with these players. They are surefire top 5 picks. This year, I'm seeing guys potentially going in the top 5 that I'm still like, well, there's a lot of question marks still about this guy. So I can see the concerns over this draft class. Doesn't mean there isn't talent. There's definitely some talent involved, and Reed Shepherd could be one of them. I do like what I see here. Interesting update from Shams Charania regarding Jamal Murray's heat pad incident. The NBA is fining Nugget star Jamal Murray a substantial amount for throwing heat pad and towel on the court toward official Monday night. No suspension. I think that's the right way to go about it. Number one, you can't. That would be, I guess, technically you would technically, by definition, classify that as assault towards an official. But obviously that's a pretty strong word for this. But yeah, that you could classify it that way, and also extraordinarily dangerous for the players on court. That definitely could have injured somebody. So I think no suspension is the right way to go here, but definitely, letting them know that this is not okay is the right way to go about this one. Substantial so it's probably going to be my yearly salary he'll get fined, which will be pocket change for Jamal. But yeah, Jamal Murray's probably going to find my yearly salary. Jaylen Brown's on fire here. Out of the timeout, turnaround Jay, and he's got 9 of the 12 for the Boston Celtics. Derek White, the other 3. Cleveland need to find something. Mitchell in the paint, kick out to Garland. Now it's wide open Okoro. He made it, but listen, I'll tell you, the Celtics were comfortable allowing Isaac Okoro to take that shot. Not a lot of concern about him on the outside, but he does make it. And my goodness, did the Cleveland Cavaliers need that. Will be interesting to see what rotations look like for Bickerstaff today. Did have an entire bench lineup suit up in that Game 7 win very briefly, but did have it in that Game 7 win over the Orlando Magic. That lineup did not do well. Channeling some Darko magic there by putting in, entire bench. Although, to be fair, Darko doesn't put in the entire bench. He puts in most of it. Derek White for 3 again, no good. Have to throw in my jabs, don't I? Donovan Mitchell outlets to Garland. Defended by White. Nice move to get to the inside. Doesn't want the shot, though. Okoro cuts to the rim. Makes a tough layup. Decent pass there by Garland. Nice finish by Okoro. Okoro is one of the players I slander the most. I don't know. Some guys are just... I have a lot of fun slandering. Isaac Okoro is one of them. Jason Tatum for 3. Way off the mark. Speaking of slandering guys that I like slandering. Yeah, Jason Tatum's one of those. Cavs haven't won a playoff road game for a while as Mitchell connects on the 3. Big shot. And all of a sudden, okay, we got a game here. Quick 8-0 run by the Cleveland Cavaliers. And they're in this game, 12-10. When the last time the Cavs won a playoff road game? Did they? I guess they wouldn't have won last year against the Knicks. Did not win a road game in the first round as White on the inside makes the layup. The year before that, they missed the playoffs. Have they not won a playoff road game since LeBron was there in 2018? Is 2018 the last time they won a road playoff game? Isaac Okoro's a bona fide star. I wouldn't put it that way. A bona fide something else that starts with S. As Jason Tatum puts it in. Isaac Okoro's a decent defender. He has no bag on offense. Speaking of Isaac Okoro, if he makes another 3. Isaac Okoro, 2 threes in the first 5 minutes. He's got 8 points. Vaulting the Cavaliers back into this one. Okoro can't shoot. Listen, I know he's made 2 threes. They're happy to let him shoot. Derek White for 3 responds. Isaac Okoro is not a good shooter. There's a reason he's wide open here. But, hey, he's made a couple here. Shout out to him. Keeping the Cavs in this one. 4-point game. Okoro, another one. This one rims out. I thought that looked good. Garland for 3 on the rebound by Mobley, and it's a 1-point game again. 19-18. Cavaliers, nice fight when it looked like they might just roll over right away in this one. Good fight back, and we've got a game here. We've got a game 1, folks. 19-18 for the Celtics. Brown past Okoro. I don't even want to roast him because it's Okoro, but that's a little too easy for Brown. Donovan Mitchell manufacturing some room here, and floater gets to bounce, and it's a 1-point game again. Brown, already on 11, decides to kick out to Horford this time. Above the break for 3. No good. Rebound Mobley. Jamal Murray got a $100,000 fine as Donovan Mitchell for 3 puts the Cavs in the lead. 21-9 run. Cleveland lead 23-21. Would you guys be the type of coach who sees a bad shooter making threes and change coverage, or assume it's just a streak and keep it the same? So it depends on the extent. So Okoro going 2 of 2 is status quo. I'm not panicking over that. If in my opinion Okoro taking a 3 is a bad shot for the opposition. So if that fuels them to make him take more shots, to me that makes sense. To just let them keep shooting. That's a bad shot. You want to take that bad shot, go ahead. At a certain extent, like if a guy's hit 4 out of 5 or 4 out of 6 or something, it's kind of clear he's got it tonight. He's just on tonight. Then my defensive strategy switches up a little bit. But you have to remember, if I'm letting Okoro shoot, it's because I'm taking away something else. So if all of a sudden I care about Okoro shooting, now the game plan that I have, perhaps I'm doubling off Okoro to take away, let's say, for instance, in this case, Donovan Mitchell. Well, now do I want to live with Donovan Mitchell a little bit more? Maybe not. Maybe Okoro's still shooting would be the way to go. But again, at a certain extent, you got to start respecting that. Like I always say, when a guy hits 2 straight threes, probably not letting him get the next one, right? Somebody else is making that next shot. Like, usually that's more so when it's a good player. But like I remember the Grayson Allen game against the Raptors this year, or the McBride game against the Raptors this year, where, yeah, at a certain point, you got to start defending that guy. But also for those guys, it should have been the pre-game game plan to not let those guys shoot, and it wasn't. But for Okoro, yeah, I'd probably just continue to let him shoot. Cleveland's a little bit different because, okay, if I'm doubling off Okoro and he's making shots, okay, I'll just double off Mobley and I'll still be fine. Okoro, the dynamic creator, always finds a way to get his own. I don't think we're talking about the same guy here. Garland is struggling, though. We may have to have a conversation about that All-Star season and discuss a little bit about that being a bit of a, well, I guess the last 2 seasons. Were those for real, or is he just injured this year? Because he didn't have a great year. And he is not having a good playoffs. He is not having a good playoffs at all for the Cavaliers here. House of the Dragon. Man, what do you guys... Did anybody watch House of the Dragon? That show didn't really motivate me to watch another season of it. Although I may watch because my girlfriend wants to watch it. Why are there snakes on the table there? I think they cut late there because all the snakes ended up on the table after they came back on screen. I don't know. Tatum to White. Now Brown. Brown's got 11 tonight. Make that 13. 13 points for Jaylen Brown. Tie game at 23. Strus scores in bunches when he gets the chances to do so. Now Mitchell gets to switch onto Hauser. This is what Cleveland are looking for. Mitchell going to attack Hauser. Hauser holding his own, forcing the kick out to Okoro. Okoro gets to the rim. He's blocked by Cornette. Brown looking to add on. Gets to the rim. Another finish for Brown. And there's just no matchup Cleveland have for him right now. 15 points for Jaylen Brown. He's 5 of 5. Now foul call. I believe that's against Hauser off the ball. Yeah, just smothered there by Cornette. Good defense there. Not a bad take by Okoro as shot clock's winding down, but this is good defense. Red Lion, I agree with you, but I'm not sure we'll get that. Karis LeVert in the game had a big Game 7 against the Magic when the Cavs needed it as well. When they were struggling, they got some good LeVert numbers. Mitchell, fouled by Jaylen Brown. Going to send him to the free throw line here. An opportunity to tie the game up at 25. Oh, Suggs is really good. Suggs is very good now. Like an elite role player. Good shooter, good defender. It's funny, the two of the traits that we were more unsure about of Suggs coming into the NBA were his shooting and his defense. And that's what he does now, you know? The guys who find success and are really good in this league are the guys who become elite in their role. If you're not good enough to have the ball all the time, be elite at the stuff off ball. And Jalen Suggs is the perfect the perfect example of a player finding their role and fine-tuning their game to fit a role the NBA needs. The NBA will always need size, defense, and shooting, and he has all three. Tatum to the rim, his first points of the game, and he's fouled as well, and one. I'm tired. I had a long day. Tatum at the free throw line. Got the free throw to go. And the Celtics lead by 3. You got Paul Pierce, courtside, rocking the Celtics chain. I do not like the Celtics. I do not like Paul Pierce. I'm thankful Paul Pierce isn't on my TV during playoff games anymore, like as an analyst. I'm very pleased he is not involved there. I don't know if I'm just soft, but I'd be nervous going into a game with Boston with a Leafs or a Raptors jersey on. Yeah, I've always felt like even not even a rivalry game. I'm just kind of used to the European soccer mindset, I suppose, because I remember I went to Pittsburgh for a Jays game a couple seasons ago. I went to 2 actually, and the first of 2 games, I did not wear my Jays jersey because I was just a little bit, I was just a little bit uneasy about it. Then I saw a lot of people wearing Jays stuff. So the next game I went to, I wore my Jays jersey. But yeah, I feel like trouble could just arise from doing that. Even though a lot of people in North America do it, it's probably not a big deal. It just makes me feel a little bit nervous, you know? In England, they won't even let you in. If you're not in the away section, the away team section, they won't let you in because they know you're in trouble. Also depends if you're in like a group or something. LeVert attacking the rim. Yeah, soccer is nuts, dude. Sometimes too nuts. Sam Hauser, $20 to $30 million guy. Maybe over 3 seasons or something. Yeah, over 3 seasons. Not a year. What? Sam Hauser would sign. What does Sam Hauser's next contract look like? Like, what's the benchmark? So Grayson Allen signed a 4 year, $70 million. That's $17.5 million a year. So Hauser is not Grayson Allen. Hauser probably gets 12 a year. 12 a year, I think, is fair. Grayson Allen hopefully is a good benchmark for Gary Trent's next contract, if it is in Toronto, at least. You should look at Grayson Allen and say, like, here is the best shooter in the NBA this year. He makes 17.5. Gary, we're not giving you 20, pal. Hauser's not worth 20, 30. 20. Death 4K, are you trying to tell me that the Celtics commentators are trying to say Sam Hauser is worth $20 to $30 million per year? Is that what you're telling me right now? Because if you are, that's fucking crazy. Sports brings the worst out of a lot of people, unfortunately. Some people are just bad people as well. LeVert in mid-range. No good. Celtics started to get control of this game again. 32-25. Tatum now. Defended by Mitchell. Tatum backing him down. Turning away for a mid-range jumper that's off the mark. Cornette can't tip in. Rebound LeVert. Tries to move quickly here. Mitchell has space to the rim. Lays it in. Wants the foul call. Won't get it, but he does get the bucket. 32-27. I know you're not saying it. You're saying the Celtics are saying that. That's the Celtics guys saying that. That's crazy. 20 to 30 million a year. Like 12 million a year, I think is good for Hauser. Like if he signed 15 million a year, I'd be like, wow, that is a lot of money for Sam Hauser. 34-27 as the first quarter is winding down. Cavs defense has been... Well, haven't really been anything. It's just not been pretty non-existent here. But they're getting big shots when they need it. Gary Trent does not have an all-star ceiling. Oh, you're saying he's trying to get it off of being young and having that ceiling. But now there's a recognition that he is not that guy. He should be $15 to $20 million. I agree. If you're paying Gary Trent less than $20 million a year, I would be pretty satisfied with that. I'd be happy. 19 a year, I'm happy. LeVert misses both free throws, but then gets his miss and gets the 2 points that way. All right, do it a little bit differently, Karras. No, I used to rate Karras LeVert higher than Jaylen Brown, and I don't rate Jaylen Brown very highly. But man, that was a bad take. Garland according to Merrill. Now, here's a guy who can shoot. Cannot score on the inside, if that's any indication. Way off on the bank shot from right around 8-10 feet there. Not even close for Merrill. Would you trade the pick from Detroit if it meant moving McDaniels and Boucher? Probably not, because I think you have a better chance of finding a decent player with that pick over what the Raptors would likely be able to accomplish in free agency. You know, we suck with free agents, so I'd rather roll the dice in the draft, suffer for another year with those guys before they're off the books. Holiday in the corner for 3, no good. Celtics up by 9 here. Garland nearly turns it over. Cavaliers in a 2-for-1 situation here, which won't be hard to use. LeVert off the glass makes it. And LeVert's been actually playing quite well here in his cameo so far in the first quarter. 38-31 Celtics here. Celtics have they have a 2-for-1 opportunity here. Shot clock, game clock separated by 8 as they take over possession. Pritchard, though, well, that's not going to help the Cavaliers in their case here. Garland fouls Pritchard. That'll send the Oregon Duck alum to the free throw line. And that's a bad foul to take here. A very bad foul to take here. You give them a 2-for-1 because of a foul at the perimeter without him really threatening. And Pritchard at the line is likely going to get you both here. Gary as shooter, 6-7 man of the great. I agree. I think Gary Trent as a starter is, for a lot of teams, brings some juice. But, you know, if you're sold on Grady Dick, you don't need to give Gary Trent all the money in the world here. Yeah, I did. I also felt like the championship would give us some free agent juice, but it didn't. I thought it would change things a little bit, but again, it really hasn't. Kind of a shame. I think part of it was the Raptors were perceived as a lower tier team even the year right after the championship. They were never really firmly established as a contender, even though they should have been. So I think that played into it a bit as well. They never developed the image as Morris nails a three. The Raptors never developed the image as being perceived as a contender on a year-to-year basis. Brown from half court rims out. That would have been nice. But the Cavs have brought this one into touching distance. And you know what? Based on the way this game started, this could have been a whole lot uglier. Jonathan Isaac. I have always loved Jonathan Isaac as a player. Not as a person. But he's always injured. But if he can be healthy, he is very, very good. It would be a crazy signing for the Raptors if he could stay healthy. I think he is a free agent. Struggled to get too much play time for Jonathan Isaac in the playoffs. Just the Orlando's Magic had kind of established their rotation, but yeah, he's always been good when healthy. Let me see his contract. He is not a free agent. He's going to be making $17.5 million this upcoming season. Again, just always injured. Always injured. And how old is he now? He's only 26. He's going to be 27 soon. Not even that old yet. I was preparing a video. Not preparing, but I was in the early stages of working on a video regarding possible trade targets for the Raptors in the offseason. Then I kind of came to the conclusion that they just shouldn't make any trades. They should just keep status quo, basically. Hopefully get a couple decent free agent signings. But I don't really foresee any trades here. Just work with what you got, keep your future assets, and kind of see how this thing plays out next season. What the Raptors shouldn't do is trade any first-round pick they own. If they own a first-round pick, do not trade it. Keep your picks. Use your draft picks to your advantage. You are good at drafting players. You are not good at a lot of other things, but you are good at drafting players. I'm not scared about the draft lottery. I think it would be a shame if we didn't have our pick, but if we lose our top 6 pick, then it conveys it's over. We don't have to worry about it. We have the complete control of all of our future draft assets. It's a shame, but it is what it is at that point. The mistake was made when they traded the pick away. But we'll it's not a disaster if we lose. It's not a disaster if we lose the pick to the Spurs. It would suck. It'd look really bad. It already does look really bad. You give the Spurs a 7 to 10 pick. It would look kind of bad, but no, I'm not. I'm not scared. Well. I very much thought this would be a low-scoring basketball game. It has not been a low-scoring basketball game. It has been very high-scoring with not-so-great defense here. I don't know who gave Sabonis a vote. That's what I'm saying. I don't know who gave Sabonis a DPOI vote. That's crazy. Garland, no good there on the 3 ball as they continue to try and get him going in the playoffs. Tatum backing down LeVert on the other end. Double comes, kicks out to Horford. Down the corner for Pritchard. Great screen set there by Tillman, but Pritchard cannot connect on the wide open 3. Garland inside to a wide open Morris, who misses the point blank wide open layup. He misses. You are in the NBA, Morris. My God. Other end, Tillman layup is good, and that's a 4-point swing right there. I really like Ron Holland as a defender. I just am not super convinced on him as an offensive player. That would be my worry. I can see the Raptors going his way in the draft if they get a top 6 pick, and I wouldn't dislike it, but I feel like there will be some better guys available. Castro's an interesting one, but yeah, Dillingham is. I'm a fan of Dillingham. I am gonna show you guys tomorrow why I'm a fan of Reed Sheppard. There is some talent in the area. I just don't really trust Ron Holland on offense. Another guy likes Buzelis. Matches Buzelis as a potential top 6 pick is interesting as well. Darius Garland, step back 3. Still cannot get going here. And yeah, these moments here, Celtics slightly pulling away. No Donovan Mitchell on the floor. Garland's got to be your guy. For a lot of Game 7, it was almost a benefit to the Cavs that he was in foul trouble, and they kind of had to take him off the floor. But Garland here, 1 of 7 in the game. Reed Sheppard's great, but Grady fits him well. Grady is very different to Reed Sheppard. Reed Sheppard's a combo guard. Grady Dick, definitely a wing. I see that hesitancy maybe compared to like having Quickly here for Reed Sheppard. I wouldn't worry about Grady Dick and Reed Sheppard. But there's always a need for shooting, spacing, and my God, does Reed Sheppard bring his shooting gravity. I think a lot of times we need to think about shooting more so as your shooting gravity. Are you spacing the floor with your shot? Like, if you can hit 35% on, like 1.5 attempts per game, that's not ultra valuable in the spacing category. You're not going to be defended that closely out there. Not getting all. It's just the offensive bag's a little bit diminished. Shooting doesn't look great, but that is the type of defender that the Raptors need. That is the defender that they're missing. Yeah, I mean, even for Dillingham and Sheppard, the conversation will be about the size next to Quickly. I don't doubt that, but a lot of talent there which would make me feel comfortable trying to figure out the fit later and working with that talent. But got to see where we end up, of course. Pritchard's hit a big 3, and the Celtics are up by 11, back to a double digit here. The type of 3 you take helps with your shooting gravity. That's a good point as well. So if you're a very stationary shooter, like OG Anunoby, for example, very stationary shooter. His shooting gravity is very different to the shooting gravity of even like a Gary Trent, who is very good on movement, who's decent on movement shooting. Definitely need a point of attack defender. Reed Sheppard actually isn't a bad. I would actually say he's a sharp defender. His size may let him down in some spots, but he can play above his size. He's a great defensive tactician. Average over 3 steals per game. Almost averaged a block per game as well. Single season leader in franchise history for steals for Kentucky. That's impressive. There's things to like there. The pull up 3 is probably the most effective thing to possess. Just for a guy to having to play you straight up out of the pick and roll is massive. For somebody to have to meet you at half court essentially is massive. Boston really taking over now as Holiday gets to the rim there, and the Celtics lead now 47-34. Kind of seeing the Cavs were in the hunt here, making a game out of this, but that has gone away pretty quickly here. Hash shooting. What do you mean hash? Are you talking about like the terminology or hash shooting? Is that the like above the break shooting, wing shooting? I do like Spawn Castle. I do need to do a full video on him. I wanted to get to Reed Shepherd before the draft lottery though. Draft Reed, you're going to have questions paying quickly. Who's 25, 30 minutes? No, no questions there for me. I wouldn't even mind seeing them together because they're not quite point guards. They're both like 1.5s. They're not ones. They're not quite twos. Neither of them are fully adept as the primary heavy load ball handler. The ideal fit for Reed Shepherd is definitely with like a bigger point guard where you can sacrifice the size for Shepherd a bit. I absolutely see the concerns there. But if you've got the 6th pick, Reed Shepherd is certainly an interesting candidate for that position. I would probably still lean a bit. Would I be lean Dillingham? It'd be tough to decide between Dillingham and Shepherd, which is also it's also funny because they're teammates, but I don't know. I'd have to think about that a bit more if I want to go Dillingham or Reed Shepherd. If I had to choose between those two, Castle's an interesting one though. Absolutely, his size is something that's very interesting to work with. Defense being pretty good is interesting to work with. Will be question marks about the shooting, but a lot of these guys as well, you would question, am I going to draft this guy in the top 6? That's where Ron Holland kind of fits in for me. Yeah, I like him, but if I have a top 6 pick, is he going to be the best player available? I don't think so. Defense is great, and the Raptors are so poor on defense, but I'd hate to lose out an opportunity to bring in such a good offensive player as well. We'll have to see where everybody gets pieced in. Consensus is all over the place here. Some mock drafts have Ron Holland like top 4. Some have him outside the top 10. Some mock drafts have Reed Shepherd top 4. Some have him outside top 10. I saw Rob Dillingham 2nd overall somewhere. Now he's like out of top 10. Holland is going to have to impress scouts with his shooting and workouts at the combine, I think, to make top 6. Oh, you did like the video. Thank you, Death 4K. I like him. I'm just not convinced that when you have a top 6 pick, you will look at him and say, yeah, he's the best guy available. We got to take him. He'll probably fall just outside of it. And it's just going to come down to shooting. There's guys who struggle to shoot in college / in this case, G League Ignite, where, okay, you see willing, confident shooter, smooth jump shot, smooth mid-range shot. This is like, you bring that jump shot out a little bit further, we got something here. Matas Buzelis fits into that category of not a great shooter, not great shooting numbers, but certainly a lot of evidence to say that will improve. For Ron Holland, I just don't really see that projecting highly upwards for the NBA. So even though his defense, I keep saying we need a big wing defender. He is a big wing defender, a very good one at that. The shooting is scary to work with. The turnovers, I'm not as concerned about the turnovers because the G League Ignite just kind of gave him the full tools to, be the lead offensive player, be the ball handler, bring the ball up court. Whereas in the NBA, that won't suit him. He'll be a much more off-ball player, a cutter. That's what they're going to have to work on. So I'm not as concerned about the decision-making and turnovers as much because he's still very young and he just won't have the ball as much in the NBA. But yeah, an area of concern for sure, as the video mentioned. Jump shot needs work. That'll be the separation of Holland being a premier NBA player or one that struggles to find his footing in the league. 12-point game here, 49-37, as Garland takes one from just beyond the free throw line and makes it a 10-point game. Cleveland just trying to hang on here in this high-scoring affair. It's kind of lost its scoring touch a little bit in the last 6 minutes, the first 5 minutes of the quarter. Kind of back down to earth in terms of the scoring. I did want to play an under live, and I think, defense has been lax. Maybe not. Holland comparable to Gramegna. I wouldn't necessarily go that far. Gramegna was very clearly just an astonishing athlete. Ron Holland is a great athlete, but isn't the super lengthy, twitchy athlete that Gramegna was coming into the draft. Like, Gramegna in this draft class would be a surefire top 5 pick. Like, Gramegna went top 7, in a very loaded draft class. Like, he went behind Giddey, Suggs, Barnes, Mobley, Green, Cade. Like, that was a loaded class, and Gramegna was in top 6, top 5 discussions. This is not a loaded class, but I see what you're saying. Gramegna probably brings a bit more creation than Holland does. I think the RJ Barrett comparison was the best way to look at Holland offensively. Defensively, completely different story, but offensively, yeah. Holland and Barrett were very similar in looking at their games. Pritchard for 3 here. No good, but Cornette offensive rebound. Also, no good. Mitchell for 3. No good. Mobley gets the rebound, though. Outside, wide open Okoro. He can't re-find his shooting touch after starting 2 of 2. Oh, actually, it's 3 of 5 now. I guess I missed one. Shout out Okoro. Cavaliers not giving up yet, Doug. Yeah, that's the thing. That, like I said, that's why I've been selfishly doing these top 6 pick videos. Because if we lose the pick, well, I made the video already. Whereas if we, and I can't make those again. Whereas I can always do mid-first, early second prospect videos. You know what I mean? So I just thought to myself, yeah, just pump out a few of these. Worst case, we don't have to pick. Now I can focus on the other guys. But I can always do those later. I can't do these later, potentially. But you're right. It's also, as much as, I've been looking at a lot of guys where I'd say, yeah, around 6 overall, I'd say draft this guy. But there's an 8% chance the Raptors have the 6th overall pick. And there's a 37% chance that if they do have their pick, there's a 37% chance their pick is top 4, where I would not consider Holland. I'd maybe look at Buzelis, top 4. Reed Shepherd, maybe look at top 4. But, top 4, we're entering a bit of a different discussion here. I think Rob Dellingham could still fit a top 4 pick. But then all of a sudden, Nikola Topic becomes, I don't know if I said that correctly, but he becomes a lot more of a viable choice for the Raptors in that position. You could even, Alex Sarr, there could be a conversation about if he falls a couple spots in the draft. There's no consensus first pick at all here. Definitely not. All of a sudden, I'm seeing Dalton Connect rise up a lot of mock drafts where I've actually already talked about him, but I've discussed Dalton Connect as somebody the Raptors could get at 17, which is now 19. So that is out of the picture. But Dalton Connect is now being flirted as a top 5 pick in some places. Above Ron Holland, even in some spots. If the Raptors jump, I hope it's not number 1. Well, you do want the number 1 pick. there is something to be said about not wanting the first overall pick this year because this is not the typical sort of talent you'd get for a number 1 overall pick. So the pressure and comparisons that will be tossed on the number 1 overall pick this year, you're going to be comparing him to the likes of Anthony Edwards of years past, right? Where that, like, if you put any first overall pick from years past, they go first overall this year, right? So you eliminate that pressure, you eliminate that magnifying glass, the microscope against your team. But I still want the first pick. There's some pros to not having the first pick this year because you don't look as bad. But come on, you want the pick. You want the first pick. You want the decision to be completely in your hands about who you pick. And it's starting to look to me like Alex Sarr is the number 1 guy in this draft. So you get him if you go first. We could do a trade to Utah for our picks. For Markkanen, the Jazz want a lot for Markkanen. They don't want to trade him. I think just avoiding a big trade is the right way to move for the Raptors going for this offseason. No big trade, just you've got your stuff. You've got a young core. Let's see how they work together over a year. Then start to think about some big changes. But for now, keep it mostly the same to me. Another big 3 for the Celtics there, by the way. They're up by 12. 4 minutes to go in the half. Tatum 3, no good. Rebound to Strus. Garland to the rim. Nice move there. Gets to the rim. 10-point game. Darius Garland gets his 3rd bucket of the night. He's 3 of 9. Not a great game for Darius here. Mitchell having to do the heavy lifting for this Cavs team so far once again. Other side of the floor with the Celtics up 10. Cornette on the outside. Finds Tatum. Doesn't use the screen. Kicks to Derek White. Got just enough space to fire away and knock down the 3 ball. Why is there a watch party for Boston of all teams? Because I like to do the watch parties on Tuesday. This happens to be the Tuesday game. This shouldn't be the comparison everyone knows the weaker class, but it will be. It will be. Like, look at Anthony Bennett. Here's a guy who should have gone 10th overall in a very weak draft class. He goes first, and he's held in the same regard as some of the greats who have obviously gone first overall. He's considered the biggest bust of all time. He should not. It was an already weak class, and he should never have gotten anywhere close to first overall. But Cleveland making a bad decision probably ruined his career. He wasn't that good. I don't think he would have had a great career regardless, but certainly having the spotlight on him, the microscope on him from day one, that certainly didn't help his NBA career. Now, he kind of stunk, so he may have been bad regardless, but you probably wouldn't know his name. You'd probably look back in that draft. Anthony Bennett went 10th overall. You'd think, who the fuck is Anthony Bennett, right? But, yeah, it was just a tough spot to be in that year. And the Cavs, they also made a bad choice. They should not have drafted him. Yeah, looking back on Bennett, sometimes, you look at a player, you look at a guy and say and who's a bust and go, that team had every right to draft that player in that position. There was no indication that this player would not succeed at the next level. He had all the tools to be successful. It just didn't happen. And that happens. Like that happens. On a year-to-year basis, that's going to happen. Draft day is hard. Sometimes there's nothing to suggest it won't work out in the NBA. It just doesn't. Anthony Bennett does not fit into that category, though. It is confusing as to how he went first. And another guy who you look at and went, Like I look at the Bruno draft for the Raptors, Bruno Caboclo, 2016, I think. The more I look back at it, the more I go, how the fuck did the Raptors come to the conclusion to draft this guy? What were they thinking? There was nothing out there to suggest that he would have worked out in the NBA. Now, granted, Caboclo's built a very successful career outside the NBA. Good for him. But I don't know how the Raptors ended up going with him, even at like 20th overall, what it was. They were just so hell-bent on finding the next Giannis that they were willing to do to risk just tanking a draft pick in order to make it happen. What I think he went 2014 draft. Yeah, he was 2014, actually. I'm off, man. 2014, 10 years. No, is that 11? No. 2, 0, 9. No, 10 years. 10 years. Anyways. Yeah. Crazy. $59-46 here. 1:20 to go. Celtics in control as would have been expected. Cleveland with just a 12 points in the second quarter. Have held Boston to 19 in the quarter, which is good, but with 12 of their own, it's not going their way. Tatum misses there. Misses again. Rebound Strus. And a foul. A little bit of frustration there for Tatum, despite his team's advantage. Maybe Tatum, on a more personal level, wanting to succeed here. He is 4-12, 0 of 3 from 3. It's been Brunson doing the bulk of the work here. Jalen Brunson at 20 points for this Cavs team. Did I say Brunson? Jaylen Brown. I think I said Brunson. Jaylen Brown, 7 of 11 in this game. Donovan Mitchell to the rim. Gets the shot and the foul. Might be a big one as the Cavs look to trim the lead as much as possible heading into the halftime. Yeah, sorry, I zoned out, and just sometimes I zone out but just keep talking, and I did it there, and I read Jalen B and said Jalen Brunson because I've talked about him a lot recently. Yes, Jaylen Brown. How Cleveland got in the first overall pick so many times? Luck and being perennially shit at basketball. You put your name in the hat enough times, you'll get lucky sometimes. And, they've had more luck than the average team. Kyrie, LeBron, then Bennett and Wiggins, but they're always bad, so they always have a chance. 59-49. White to Horford for 3. Off the mark. Leave another chance to trim into this lead. If they can get the rebound, which they can. It was wobbling around for 7 seconds, and Mitchell gets it, then turns it over. All that work to get that ball, and then Donovan Mitchell turns it over. "10 seconds. Can Boston extend this 10-point advantage?" Derek White to the rim. Can't get past Thompson. Half-court buzzer beater for Okoro is no good, and that will do it. 10-point game at the half. Cleveland have tried, but it's tough when Garland's not helping. He's 3 of 10. Mitchell's on an island here, and they're just not getting enough. I say juice a lot today. Just not getting enough elsewhere. Not much coming from the Cavs bench. Like, if it wasn't for Okoro, this could be a whole lot worse than it is already. Like, Tatum's not even playing well, and the Celtics are still completely dominating this matchup so far. Yeah, this could get ugly. Boston aren't even out of second gear yet. They're just cruising and winning by 10 at the half. Cleveland, lots of work to do. All right, halftime, you know the drill. I'm going to go take a 2-minute break here. Get myself a drink, go to the bathroom, just recharge a little bit. When I come back, we'll go through the box score from that first half, and we have the second half on the way. Don't go anywhere. But while I'm gone, smash that like button. Support the stream content. All right, I'm back. Better to build around Mitchell, but he's been looking deep. Yeah. It's complicated because Mitchell is very likely not going to stay after next season. So you just bite the bullet and trade him and start building around the next crop of players. Yeah, that's a tough one. I probably lean towards, try and trade him. Just get as much as you can now. But then who do you build around? Like, what does the next steps of the team look like? Garland hasn't necessarily looked like the piece you want to build around. Mobley is certainly not a piece to build around. So it's complicated. Another beer. You do everything to retain him. You just give yourself a chance. I'd say if you keep Mitchell, you want to maximize his time, his year, trade Mobley. I agree. I was saying that earlier. But that's hard to do as well. All right. Here is the next beer we've got. We've got double Octo. So I talked about Octopus Wants to Fight earlier. Well, they made a double IPA version of it. Throw it into, instead of making the usual, we said to ourselves, let's make it a double. Oh, all right. Double IPA. Let's pour this up. And these will be my only two of the night. This one's like 8%. Ooh, a bit too strong of that pour. Oh, that didn't go well. We'll let that settle a little bit. There's still some in here as well. That was fill it up, but that was not a good pour. Too much head, better than too little. Remember that, though. If you're gonna fuck up one way, fuck up by doing too much, because this will settle. And you'll still get a fine beer out of it. I did split the logo, but so this glass is too big for the beer I have. Anyways, surprised Murray didn't get suspended for one game. I think for the playoffs, it's got to be an undoubt no doubt suspension. I think it's right to try and avoid a suspension where you can. And I think this is the right call here. Sometimes you see something go that absolutely has to be a suspension. I don't think this fit the bill of that. Someone made the 2022 Warriors comp for the Knicks. What are your thoughts on it? Ooh, that actually is yeah, that's somewhat interesting. Wow, yeah, that does make a lot of sense. Now that you mention it, it does make a lot of sense. I think the Warriors profited that year from having easier matchups than they probably should have done. Rode that to a championship. Full credit to them. I don't think it's as wide open this year. The Knicks have a lot of work to do to get through. Well, this Pacers series won't be a pushover. They should win, though. Then they'll have the Celtics, because this is done in 5, this Celtics series. Then they probably have to deal with Minnesota, but, still a lot of time. But whoever is out there in the West, it'll be trouble. This one's good. I'm not in love with it, though. If the Knicks are capable of winning it all. I'm not going to deny that, but I think they'll struggle to get through Boston. I think they'd struggle to get through Minnesota or Denver. Probably won't be Denver they're playing, but they'd struggle to get through Minnesota. They'd be favored over Dallas. And Oklahoma would be tough, too. I mean, Oklahoma we're kind of forgetting about as well. Yeah, Randall even doing anything. They should trade Randall, by the way. Mitchell Robinson to miss at least 6 to 8 weeks. That's... Yeah, for a Celtics series, that could be bad. Yeah, having that size there. Damn. You would pick the Knicks over OKC or Dallas? I wouldn't. Are we forgetting, about OKC here? The 1 seed just swept the first round. I feel like they're flying under the radar a little bit, I saw a poll today. Let me pull it up. That's kind of put in recency bias. A bit off the charts here. Let me pull it up here. And listen. Where is it? And listen, we love Anthony Edwards. We think he's great, but look, come on. Best player here: Anthony Edwards, Jalen Brunson, Jason Tatum, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I don't care about Brunson, Tatum here. They're not in the conversation. They're great, not in the conversation. Anthony Edwards is voted higher than Shai in the best player here poll here. Yeah, Shai might win MVP. He probably won't, but Shai will very likely finish second in MVP voting. Shai's the best player here. Edwards is terrific. Shai's the best player on this list. Recency bias could go a bit crazy. Like Shai has been fine in the playoffs as well. But they made that first round series seem so easy that we're overlooking the Thunder a little bit. They're great. The Thunder are a great team. Shai was potentially the best player in the NBA this season. He hasn't even had the opportunity to be a dog in the playoffs per se yet, because they've just comfortably been really good so far in the playoffs. He's just been cruising. And if Shai Gilgeous-Alexander cruising is an pretty efficient 27 points per game, then that's really good. Ant is certainly in the top 10 player in the league conversation, though. I'm not trying to put down Anthony Edwards. He's phenomenal, both ends of the floor as well. And I think he could emerge. I think he could win MVP one day. But come on, let's pump the brakes a little bit. Whoever his publicist is, though, unreal job. Like, just the way he's grown as a brand this season. The signature shoe with Adidas, that's doing well. Just his aura. He's terrific for the league. A great player. Great player. I love Anthony Edwards. We're seeing some parallels to. I was actually thinking some Dwayne Wade parallels to his first championship. Yeah, we're seeing it. We're seeing it a little bit. And look, it's open for the Timberwolves to win a chip this year, especially after winning both games in Denver. That was crazy. Winning both in Denver. I think Denver lost one home game in the playoffs last year. They just lost two, and they lost them handily as well to the Timberwolves. Timberwolves are for real. Timberwolves, they're for real. Now, tell you what, Shai is a good basketball player, not a great dresser. I'm not so sure about that outfit. That's he looks like CeeLo Green at the Grammys. He looks like a Grammy. He looks like an Oscar. That's the one. He looks like an Oscar. Murray, by the way, they're showing it now. Fined $100,000. So I don't know what you guys make a year salary-wise. An entire 365 days. I don't know what you make before tax over a year. But I tell you, I don't make $100K. And Jamal Murray has to pay that right now. That's crazy. T-Wolves, the best defense in the last decade with respect to our Raptors. Yeah. I that game too, I don't think I've ever seen a defensive performance like that, ever. That was... I don't know how Denver must have felt, but I don't think I've ever been so dumbfounded as of, like, they literally can't do anything. Right? Like, the Nuggets had nothing, no answer for anything in that game. They couldn't do anything, and Gobert wasn't even playing. They couldn't do anything in that game. Just remarkable. That was art. That was the art of defending. If you didn't watch that game, you missed out on something truly special. Indeed. That was terrific. It was a marvel of defensive ability that we may never see for a long time. So, yeah, Denver in trouble. Denver in big trouble here. Minnesota, also, real deal. What we learned. We were wondering, what's the best way to stop Jokic? Just keep throwing two bigs at him at once. Two bigs who are great defenders and who are mobile at all times. And you'll limit him to, a really good night, but not the domination, Nikola Jokic, that we've become accustomed to. The Raptors in that Bucks series were quite remarkable defensively as well. Even parts of that Warriors series against Steph Curry, the box and one. But yeah, thinking on like the ultimate defensive teams of the last since the turn of the millennium, you gotta talk about the Pistons. You gotta talk about the Raptors, and perhaps the Timberwolves are on their way to be in the next one. But they got to get that ring to go with it, and there's a long way to go to get there. They got to still go through probably OKC. They still got to beat Denver 2 more times, which is not a gimme. And they probably have to go through the Celtics. And even if they don't go through, the Celtics, they have to go through the Knicks. Makes me curious if Nasri and Kat are doing this. If Nasri and Kat are doing this, would Gasol and Ibaka, or what would Gasol and Ibaka be doing to this Nuggets team? Maybe it's well, I think the thing about Nasri and Kat is they're so mobile for their size that maybe Ibaka and Gasol didn't have. But it would be interesting to see that Nuggets team or just the 2019 Raptors, how they would defend Jokic. But we're out here in the second half, and first play of the second half, the Cavs are blocked to the rim. Yeah, if it continues like this, I'll probably give up after 3 quarters here. But let's see. Jaylen Brown kick out to Tatum, extra pass, underhand to Drew Holiday, and 3-ball down. Just the worst possible way to start the half for the Cavs. Blocked on a layup, and then give up a 3 on the other end. I think what Gasol had against Jokic that maybe other people don't have is, like, Jokic can pretty much just back you down until he shoots over you. But maybe he couldn't have done that to Gasol. Then he could still throw doubles. You can even double with Kawhi at times. I think that'd be an interesting way to go about it. Because, like, you could probably go smaller elsewhere. Like, what would the realistic matchups be? You'd probably have... Yeah, you could put Danny Green on Michael Porter Jr. I guess it depends on the direction you go. Siakam could go on Gordon. Does Danny Green still get the minutes there? I mean, I think you could survive with. You know what? You'd probably you'd put Siakam on Michael Porter Jr. You just have that straight up. Kawhi plays on Gordon, helps off Gordon, so you can double Jokic with Kawhi and Gasol. You can absolutely live with Lowry and Van Vliet on KCP and Murray. And then, you have Danny Green in there as well. Danny Green can take any of Porter, like probably not Porter because of the length, but you definitely take KCP there. But I think the best way to go about it is Kawhi on Gordon, and Kawhi helps off on Jokic. And then if you want to be extreme defense, you could put Ibaka on Gordon, have Ibaka help off Gordon, slide Kawhi to Michael Porter Jr. They could even play super big and have Danny Green on KCP, Kyle Lowry on Murray. Like, that works as well. That would be they have, basically what I'm saying is they would have the matchups. That's an interesting hypothetical. Well, maybe it's because Chris Finch comes from the Nick Nurse coaching tree, huh? The one shining light of the Nick Nurse coaching tree is Chris Finch, for sure. Everyone's mad I'm streaming today. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Next time I won't stream. Screw you guys. Wednesday, I'm apartment hunting. Thursday night, I'm working. Friday night, come on. It's Friday night. Monday, look, I could have streamed yesterday, but I had a case of the Mondays and decided not to. All right. If you guys don't want me to stream the Celtics game, I won't. Thursday, I'll probably be working. If I'm not working, well, even if I'm not working, it's the Celtics again, so it'd probably be a non-watch along stream. Next stream, let's see, next Tuesday. That would be Pacers, Knicks, the game. Okay, so next Tuesday will be good. I do work a 9 to 5, yes. Sometimes that 9 to 5 goes beyond 5. Sometimes it starts before 9, but it's not super strenuous, but sometimes it's just, a lot during the day. But yes, I do have a technically 9 to 5 sort of job. Or let's not call it 9 to 5. I have a day job. YouTube is not this is not my primary income. This is not my job. This is my side hustle. This is my hobby more than anything. Side hustle / hobby. 14-point game here after the Derek White 3. I did toss a cheeky bet on Derek White to win Finals MVP. Being a non-Tatum believer, thinking Jalen Brown's not that good. Kristaps Porzingis potentially health factors. I can see Derek White having a really good series, doing well defensively. Like, let's say they match up against the Timberwolves. Derek White is in a really good defensive series, averages like near 20 points per game. It's not impossible. Phoenix says, the OG being healthy for the hypothetical to Nuggets makes it even more interesting. I agree. But I'm kind of thinking about the Bucks series, the Warriors series there, where obviously OG did not play in the playoffs. But yes, 2020 Raptors plus Kawhi and Danny coming back is auto ring. I wouldn't call it an auto ring. You obviously you have the Norm Powell breakout, the Fred VanVleet breakout, the Pascal breakout. You have to question whether those breakouts happen if Kawhi is still there, first of all. Second of all, the Lakers were really good that year. But I think minimum Kawhi returning is pushing the finals to 6 games. Minimum. But they had a good chance of winning. It's a shame. Very big what if. We do have a chip, though. Listen, a lot of there's teams out there don't even have a chip. So we're blessed to have one, and I don't want to be too greedy. Do I think the Nuggets will win? I don't know. Like, what can Denver do differently? What can they do? Because when Gobert's back, they can play Jokic straight up and live with the results. Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Jaden McDaniels are 2 of the best wing defenders in the league. And you got both of them in. Mike Conley is a vet tactician extraordinaire with this group. Everything is clicking into place right now. What better wing defensive throw at LeBron 80 than OG, Kawhi, Pascal, Gasol? You're not wrong. For a lot of times, especially 5 years ago, 4 years ago, any argument against LeBron is essentially, but it's LeBron. And sometimes you can have all of the evidence to say you're going to be able to stop LeBron, but then it's LeBron, and you can't. These days, well, even still, LeBron had an outstanding first-round series. His team stunk. He's no help other than AD. But before, like, even when he had no help, he would still win games, You're right, AD does not like the Raptors matchup, never has. And the Raptors had a knack for beating the Lakers. They easily could have won a chip. Yes, it's an unfortunate what if to deal with. Derek White, here's my Finals MVP. Like, if the Celtics are going to win, I pray that it's him winning Finals MVP over anybody else. Any takes in the shooting outside Drake's? It's a shame that something like this is ruining what is like a really good short era in hip-hop. It's a shame that something like this is tarnishing what has been an immensely entertaining era of hip-hop. What was like maybe some of the intros and upbringing of hip-hop was battle rap. Not to this personal of a degree with the roast, but, when you look back on some peak eras in hip hop, you have Biggie versus Tupac, which obviously had a tragic ending, unfortunately, but you got like Jay-Z, Nas. You got now Drake, Kendrick. It's a shame that something has been brought into the real world here to kind of ruin it a little bit. What do you think the starting five is if Kawhi comes back? Lowry, OG, Kawhi, Pascal Gasol. I don't think OG jumps into the starting lineup like that. I think they keep it the same. They just run it back with Danny Green still starting. Man, that team was just so stacked. Imagine Ibaka, Fred VanVleet after his breakout, Norm after his breakout, and OG after his breakout. All off your bench. I mean, yeah. How would that team have lost? You're like, how the fuck would that team have lost a 7-game series? You're not wrong. How would that team have fucking lost? Could we roast Danny Green, but he won a championship literally that season and started. Man, it's sad. What a time to be alive. Listen, don't be sad it's over. Smile that it happened. It's what's the line? Something like, what's the line from The Office? It's like, you want to... So the good old days where you want somebody to tell you you're in the good old days, so you cherish them a little bit more. Because, you look back on it and think how great it was. But you also look back and think, man, I really did not appreciate it enough. And nobody will ever take it away. But yeah. I don't know. Tom, you know what? Tom Brady has said, has an interesting take. Now, he's got 7 Super Bowls now, but he won, I think it was his 3rd Super Bowl. Let me see. Hang on. I'm teeing up a good point here. So he won in 2002, 2004, 2005, and then 2015. Okay. So here's the point I'm trying to make. Tom Brady said, like, the most elated he felt for a Super Bowl was 2015 because he won in 02, 04, 05. 3 out of 4 years. And he thought like that was easy, right? It just happened. But then a 10-year period to build towards another Super Bowl. And he says that one felt the best because after you win one and then don't win one for a bit, you appreciate all the work that has to go into winning one. So I think if the Raptors were to ever win another championship in my lifetime, hopefully, that one would feel so much better than that first one because it'd be like, man, you truly understand what has going on. You feel it, and all you ever do after feeling that success is chase that success again. So getting to that point again would feel so much more rewarding as a fan, I think, than that first one did. I don't know. And I think part of it is just, you look back and think, I cherished the hell out of it, but I wish I had done it a little bit more even. Matthew Martin asks, do you think we are going to keep the pick, or is Adam Silver going to use his magic and give the pick to the Spurs? There is literally a specific percentage chance on the Raptors keeping their pick. There is nothing Adam Silver, anybody can do about it. There is a specific percentage probability the Raptors keep their pick. It's like 45.3%. It's out of the hands of the NBA commish, you know? Marc Gasol's underrated with his ball movement, defensive size. Commented Siakam in the small backcourt. Yeah. He wasn't even that good of a shooter. He could shoot a bit, but he wasn't that good of a shooter with the Raptors. I try to make this point about Pirtle a lot. you can space the floor without shooting. Marc Gasol is an elite example of that. Elite example, but he is an example of that. Phoenix, I always say rookie contracts win championships. 78-64. Another 3 for Derek White. That's my Finals MVP vote, guys. No, if you have star players on rookie deals, it's just so much easier to build an elite team. The Raptors were poised for success there because of that. And OG, by the way, also on a rookie deal. Wow, 80-64. I think we're going to wrap this up at the end of the third quarter, guys. Someone in the Raptors Reddit that is posting a bird raptor every day until we know if we have a pick or not. Again, I want to preview it, and I'm going to do a full preview for the lottery on Friday. Keep a lookout for that. It's not the end of the world. And listen, if we don't keep our pick, for a lot of the fan base, it will be the end of the world. It will be as if it is doomsday. A black hole is going to swallow up the earth tomorrow if we don't keep our pick. It is not the end of the world. If Phoenix says I'm going to get on my knees and cry, it is the end of the world. It is what it is. You move on. You now have control of all of your draft assets. You now have your pick guaranteed for next season. It would suck. It'd be disappointing. Ultimately, the Raptors made the right decision. Tanking. A 45% chance of keeping the pick. A 45% probability of that is higher than the probability they had to make the playoffs. So they've given themselves a chance here. That was worth it to me. I focus on the process more than the result. The process of tanking made sense. Not the end of the world if we don't have the pick. I would absolutely love to have the pick, but if we don't have it, we'll be okay. Draft stream is always fun. Draft lottery stream should be fun as well. The first time we did that was the Barnes year. That was fun too. Draft stream's always fun. I may have to do something for work. We'll see, because like my work wants to do the stream as well. Last year was a good compromise. I streamed the top 10 for work, and then I came on here and did the 13th pick for the Raptors. But the Raptors are top 6 pick. That won't really work out. So we'll see. We'll play as we go. My boss understands. You know, I have a life outside of work. I got this. So we'll see. Prepare yourself, guys. The chance of keeping the pick is less than the chance of losing the pick. There is a higher probability the Raptors do not have their pick, as Derek White waltzes in for a layup there. This is just too easy. Too easy for the Boston Celtics. Donovan Mitchell, layup is good. Try to keep this one in the realm of possibility. You know, you watch a game like this and think, how are Cleveland even going to get a game out of this series? But Boston will give you one. They'll let you have one. They'll beat themselves one game. Has there been a team that has become title contenders gutting all their assets outside of the AD trade? Well, the Milwaukee Bucks, I'd say to a certain degree, gutted quite a healthy chunk of their assets to get Drew Holiday, which was a significant factor in building an NBA championship team. It was like 3 picks and giving Drew Holiday a fat-ass contract. It was 2? If it was 2, then I'll retract my point. Let me just... Not that I don't believe you. Shout out to the Pelicans, man. 2 unprotected first-round picks and a swap for 2 years. Okay, that's not gutting your team. So AD is a good example. Other than AD, I mean, what it comes down to is you have to draft an MVP or you have to trade for one. That's pretty much what it comes down to. You need an MVP on your team. Let's look at, wow, another 3 for Boston. Another 3 for Derek White. My goodness. All right, let's look at past NBA champions. So Nuggets, they drafted Jokic, MVP. Year before that, Warriors drafted Curry, MVP, 2021. Bucks drafted Giannis, MVP. Lakers signed LeBron, MVP, 2020. Raptors trade for Kawhi, not an MVP. So a rare year when an MVP does not exist on the roster. Donovan Mitchell hits a 3, winding down here to keep it just in the range here, trying to get his team psyched up. 2018, he had 2 MVPs. 2017, 2 MVPs, Curry, KD. Draft 1 and sign 1. 2016, LeBron. 2015, Curry. Then you had flip-flop with Spurs and the Heat. So Tim Duncan, you draft an MVP. LeBron, you signed an MVP. Dallas, you draft an MVP. Dirk. Boston, sign an MVP. Kevin Garnett. Lakers, draft an MVP. Kobe Bryant. Spurs, again. Pistons. Pistons, a rare example that doesn't have an MVP. Let's go further. Spurs again. Lakers had Shaq and Kobe. They drafted an MVP and signed one in free agency. Basically, if you don't have an MVP on your team, you ain't winning the championship. Like, you're not going to win the championship. You need an MVP on your team to win the championship. So unless you draft an MVP or get one to come to your team in free agency, sorry, pal, you're not winning an NBA championship. That just seems to be the theme here. This year, though, actually, that should change because Minnesota might win it. Ant may win it one day, so we'd look back and say MVP. But I think, no, even the teams I've mentioned already, every team other than the Pistons and Raptors since the Jordan era, every team since the Pistons or Raptors, every team other than the Pistons or Raptors in the Michael Jordan era had a player on their team that won an MVP already. Not like would win one later. They had an MVP on their team. So you had Jordan 6 times. In the middle of that, Hakeem did it twice. The Spurs, actually, the 99 Spurs had David Robinson, didn't they? When did Tim Duncan win one? Tim Duncan won in 2002 and won. Did David Robinson win an MVP? '95, so yes. Then Tim Duncan won in 02 and the Spurs won in 03-05. So yeah, so every team since who won in 1990? The Pistons. And in 89. Did Isaiah Thomas win MVP? Probably not, right? Yeah, no. Okay, so every team since 1991, other than the Pistons in 04, the Raps in 2019, had a player on their team who had previously won an MVP. That's crazy. Isn't that a crazy stat? So you do all this work to build a championship caliber team, but pretty much unless you have an MVP, you are not winning the championship. Huh. So it'll be interesting because my point is Boston and Minnesota are favored for their conferences. Boston do not have an MVP on their team. And I do not believe, as Cornette throws down there, I do not believe anybody on this Boston team will ever win MVP. Minnesota, I believe Ant could win one day, or should win one day. Tatum could win. I don't think he will. Ant could win. I think he will one day win an MVP. So there will be a team like it that wins this year and does not have an MVP on their team. That's the point I'm trying to make here. Sorry, I did not see the notification. I have my headphones off because this game's toast. But thank you so much, 905 Yada, dropping in a re-up on the membership. 17 months for 905 Yada. Says, hopefully I'll be home before stream ends. Cheers, everyone. Well, 905 Yada, well, I guess the stream is going well. I don't have to ditch. But, 12-point game. I'll stick around for the fourth quarter. I just wanted a big tangent there. What's the point I'm trying to make here? Right. Teams that have traded all their assets to build a championship team. Does it work? Oh, wow. Pritchard at the buzzer for 3. Man, we had a maybe exciting fourth quarter. Now we don't. Other than AD, has a team shelled out a huge amount of assets to build a championship team? The answer is no. I think in this case, though, Phoenix, I don't think we've had enough evidence to disprove. Maybe Gobert. We'll see. I still maintain they overpaid. If they win a championship, then overpays don't matter. But I don't think we've had enough time in this era. What was the first? AD set the market. The Anthony Davis trade is the reason that superstars are worth the 3 firsts, 2 swaps. AD set the market for a superstar, right? That was the catalyst. That's why when stars get traded now, they go for that amount, which maybe previously they didn't. So we've only had 5 or so years of teams throwing every asset possible to bring in a superstar. And in that span, we've had the Clippers who have always been super unserious, the Brooklyn Nets who were not built correctly. You know what? It might be some teams get a little bit impatient in trying to do it. Minnesota would have been a good example of a team who could have waited. As much as it's working out with Gobert, I still feel like those assets could have been better served elsewhere. It may work out anyways this year. We'll see. But it also depends on your location. The Clippers had no pathway to building a contender other than that trade. Right? They didn't have the MVP. They didn't have the number 1 guy. They made it happen. They manufactured that team through their assets. Whereas for the last 20 years, LeBron has just been really good. You give him help, they win. Just give him help and he'll win. Or you have the Nuggets who built this machine around one of the luckiest picks ever, Nikola Jokic. Even the Nuggets scouts will tell you they got lucky on Nikola Jokic. The Raptors just put everything together one year. Everything fell into place for the Raptors. It's hard to win a chip, but it seems like you really just need an MVP. There you go. Liam asks, what do you think of Rudy Gay's comments on who wants to go to Toronto? Well, I think Rudy Gay's just butthurt that trading him away was the first step towards the most successful era in Toronto Raptors history, which lasted for 10 years plus and led to a championship. I think Rudy Gay's just butthurt that the team was way better because they traded him away. Sorry, Rudy. Team stunk when you were on it because you weren't good enough to be a lead guy. They traded you, started sharing the ball, and were really good overnight. Overnight, that Raptors team was good because they traded Rudy Gay. He's just ass hurt about that. How has Tatum been the leader in points only one time in his playoffs? Fraud. I've been saying it since 2019. 5 years. Go back to videos I put in 2019. You'll find 2 on Tatum. Fraud. Said it for years. Also, the team's really good. But they have to be really good because Tatum is not an MVP caliber player. He believes he is. Did he get an MVP? Do I think he'll get an MVP vote? Has he confirmed gotten an MVP vote? This stream is no longer a watch along because this game is boring. Phoenix sent me a list of people who have gotten MVP votes. Jason Tatum has confirmed 2 4th-place votes and 4 5th-place votes. So, okay, he'll finish 5th in MVP voting, likely. That's a lie. He'll finish 7th in MVP voting based on this current standing, which could change. I like to hate Jason Tatum, but he does it to himself as well. Listen, if Jason Tatum is the best player on the Celtics, if the Celtics don't win a championship in this era with one of the most stacked teams we've ever seen, with him as a lead player, yeah, serious inquisition goes against him. We had an interesting game here. It was a 12-point game, I think. And then Peyton Pritchard hits a 3 right at the end of the third, and then the Celtics start the quarter 4-0 up. And now it's a 20-point game. Counter the Clippers point to say they were patient. SGA was still there. Okay, but nobody could have foreseen SGA becoming an MVP caliber player, which he is right now. I think when you have a really good player, teams are kind of desperate to pair them with a superstar right away. Which sometimes you get good too quick. Hey, you know what? There's 2 ends of it because you want to pair that guy with a superstar while he's still on a rookie contract. But also you want to continue to build up a team, then mortgage your future when you already have a good team in place. Like if you mortgage your future, the Cavs for Donovan Mitchell. They tried to take a not good team, sign Donovan Mitchell, or trade for Donovan Mitchell out of nowhere and be good. This team was never going to win a championship. My big argument against trading for Donovan Mitchell at the time for the Raptors, because they could have been in the hunt, was, look, we'll be a lot better. We won't be a championship team. If you're going to mortgage your entire future, you better be one of the premier elite contending teams in the NBA. The Cavs are not one of those teams, and they cannot be one of those teams. It's hard. It's hard to win a championship. You got to draft an MVP, and you'll be good. No, it's not about being the MVP. It's about, you have to have a player. I don't know. Every year other than 2 since 1991. Only 2 outliers since 1991. Every team since 1991, other than the 04 Pistons and 2019 Raptors, has had an MVP, a player who had previously won an MVP or won it that year on their team. It's a funny stat to think about. Yeah, you can call Kawhi an MVP caliber player for sure. He never won it, and that's only one of 2 since 91. How crazy is that? But what almost all those teams had in common was an elite team around that MVP as well. It is a sport of superstars. The Pistons will forever be an anomaly, but you need to have that S-tier superstar player or you're not winning anything. Unless you're the Pistons. Even the Raptors of Kawhi. The Raptors would have never won with DeMar DeRozan. They would have won with DeMar DeRozan. I'm sorry, DeMar. Yeah, basketball is superstar oriented. I think hockey is very momentum oriented. Baseball is very variance and momentum based. Football is superstar oriented, quarterback oriented. Football is another one that is superstar oriented. Basically, like for your quarterback. I mean, no, you know what? Actually, you can have a good team. Yeah, maybe I think to my Giants, they had no business winning in 08 with Eli, but defense was good. Even in the 2011 season, so in the Super Bowl 2012, they did. The team was a lot better, but still wasn't like Eli Manning was never elite. I guess football. What's the most team-oriented one? Probably football, because just so many players. You know, I had a conversation with my friends this week. This game's toast, by the way. What are the core 4 North American sports? Which sport is coaching the most important in? So baseball, football, basketball, and hockey. Which of those 4 sports has the biggest emphasis on the coach having to be good? Not have, but you know what I'm saying? The biggest emphasis on the coach being good. So for basketball, I think like if you've got a star or a couple, you don't have to be that good of a coach to figure out how to win a championship. Baseball, a lot of variance, a lot of times, preparation stuff, but guys just gotta come up with some stuff. Like a guy got to get hot at the plate. I'm oversimplifying it. Hockey, very motivationally driven, momentum driven. I'm not like super into hockey, but I think that hockey players can kind of agree with that. Coaching is important in all these sports. But football, oh my God, how did it come up? Literally how I brought it up. Just my friend said, hey, we were talking about this earlier, Jacob. What's the most important sport for coaching? So the answer for me is football. Every single play in football is premeditated, calculated, prepared for. Every play. Every single play. A coach needs to drop a play. Now, the one caveat you can have against an NFL coach is that you can delegate a lot more in the NFL. Let's say I'm hired to coach NFL. I can hire a defensive coordinator and hire an offensive coordinator to handle that business there, right? Or like a lot of NFL coaches, the best ones would be they're calling the offense. They got a guy to call defense. So that's the one thing caveat you can have against that. But for everything is premeditated in football. Coaching is so important on a play-to-play basis in football that just does not meet that sort of level of requirement for other sports. So I think it is. College basketball is different. I agree. But, yeah, I would rank it football first. Baseball is still important as well. It is important for all. Football is by far first. Second, basketball might be last, to be honest. Like, bad coaches can just get a good team and win a chip. I don't think a bad coach could win. There's no way a bad coach could win in football. Hockey might be second, because I'm thinking bad coach probably can't win in hockey. I could see a bad coach winning in baseball, maybe. And I think a bad coach could absolutely win in basketball. I don't think you need to be a good coach to win in basketball. It helps, but I don't think you need to. Yeah, it's good watch. It's good just chatting sports while the Cavs get rammed here. Steve Kerr has always been a puzzling one to me. I think the 2022 championship kind of solidified that, okay, Steve Kerr really knows what he's doing. It helps to have Steph Curry, but Steve Kerr has an idea about how to do this basketball thing. Would I put him as like one of the all-time greatest coaches? No, but he's a good coach. It's a good question to think about. But isn't that an interesting question? How much coaching matters per sport? I think soccer, if we're going to lump in soccer to this discussion, I don't think we can put that on the same level of football. And maybe I'm biased because I played soccer my whole life, but I definitely think that soccer would be number 2 out of those sports. Again, maybe I'm biased, but that's how I feel. Doc won in Boston with the Big Three. Hasn't been close since. Well, he got to a final after winning. But after the final, the NBA Finals appearance in 2010, yes, he has not done anything. Liam says there's a higher chance we will not get the number 6 pick in the draft lottery. There is a 6. I know he had a former MVP. I know that. There is a higher percentage chance the Raptors do not keep their pick. However, there is only about an 8% chance they get the 6th pick. There's a 37% chance they have a top 4 pick. It would be very rare out of a million simulations the Raptors get the 6th overall pick specifically. Interesting. Well, Doc Rivers has won a Coach of the Year, and now that's over 20 years ago now. But Doc Rivers did win Coach of the Year in the NBA as well. Strange, huh? Tails never fails. Yeah, Tails is the 45%. The 6th pick has more than not fallen. Well, it's 55% chance it does fall. We have all of the percentages, all the numbers, we have all the probability here. It's strictly 55% chance the Raptors lose the pick. That's all there is to it. 23-point game here as I kind of dial back in. I'm having fun here, guys, but this game stinks. This is over. It has been over for a while, huh? Do you think Doc Rivers would still be an NBA head coach if he didn't have that Boston ring? Because we got the Clippers job shortly after, Lob City. Wildly underwhelmed, consistently blew series lead, but wildly underwhelmed considering the talent on that team. Overstayed his welcome in the Clippers. Didn't do well there, even with Kawhi and PG. Went to the Sixers, underperformed there. Went to the Bucks, horrendously underperformed this season. Yeah, how does he keep getting jobs? The Sixers one was bad, but at least somewhat plausible sense. The Bucks one is one of the most confusing decisions I've ever seen an NBA team make. Yeah, I was right about the Cavs not reaching 100. I was wrong about the Celtics. They are scoring a lot more than expected here. I agree. Wonder how the Raptors would look if they didn't jump to 4th when they had the 7th best odds. Who would they have drafted? So let's simulate the draft. Let's put Orlando 4th. Let's put OKC 5th. Golden State 6th. So Orlando wanted Suggs. They get him at 4 still. OKC at 5. OKC wanted Scotty. OKC would have drafted Scotty Barnes 5th overall. 6th overall ended up being Giddey. Warriors don't go Giddey. They probably They probably still go Kuminga. 7th overall, there's a drop-off. I don't think the Raptors go Franz at 7. In hindsight, they do, but not in actuality there. They don't go Giddey. They would have wanted Kuminga, but the Warriors still would. If the Warriors took him at 7, they would take him at 6. They wouldn't take him over. They wouldn't take Giddey over him. The Giddey at 6 was surprising when it happened. So Kuminga would go 6. Oh, man. It's probably not out of the realms they go Davion Mitchell at 7. That's one of the only names that kind of jumps out to me. Let me pull up the draft class. Yeah, Davion Mitchell went 9th. They probably go Davion Mitchell at 7. Because they're not going Franz, like I said. They're not going Giddey. They're not going Zaire Williams. They're not going Bouknight. They're not going Primo. Primo went 12th. Wow, and he's like out of the league. They're not going Moody. Yeah. They go Davion Mitchell. If we re-simulate that draft and the Raptors at the 7th pick, they go Davion Mitchell. I'm almost certain they go Davion Mitchell. That's crazy. Trey Murphy went a lot late. Trey Murphy wasn't in that conversation. I was really locked in on this draft. So I remember people's like stock pre-draft. Davion Mitchell would have gone 7th to the Raptors. Been driving. Tell you he's not playing well. Jason Tatum. Fortunately, he gets bailed out by his teammates again. And I'm kind of half playing here, but no, not Tatum's all time here, but Jaylen Brown set the tone early. Yada was 5 of 5 to start the game. He's 12 of 18 now. Derek White has been sensational. Derek White's probably been the best player all the way through. Looking now, Tatum 7 of 19, but it's been Jaylen Brown from the start, Derek White ever since. Can you convince me the Raptors don't draft Davion Mitchell 7 that draft? We were fortunate. Wow. How do you blow a double-digit lead in a closeout Game 6 versus Boston 2022? Who we talking? Oh, Philly. Philly, you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah. Tatum the highest on-off playoffs. That's somewhat interesting. I would wonder how much that's skewed by the Celtics affording to put out bad lineups because they're up by a lot. That is interesting. MK says the Raptors may have gotten Giddey. Okay, you're right, MK. I think Giddey could have been in the conversation there. Looking back, Giddey, if I'm not mistaken, was 13th on my mock draft board. It was certainly shocking to see him go 6th. They could have. That would have been counter to what the Raptors would normally do at the draft. Now, I'm not saying Davion Mitchell fits in exactly to like the Masai Bobby style, but at least that was what considered to be the best defender in the draft class. But Giddey was 13th on mine. And I think at the most, you could have seen him go like 11th or 10th. But that was certainly surprising there. There were some duds beyond the top 6, to be honest. Now, Suggs has emerged as a tremendous player. But Davion Mitchell is not that good. He's okay. He's an NBA player. He went 9th. Zaire Williams went 10th. And he's... I remember I tried to start this conversation with you guys like a few months ago. I said, if you have a official NBA basketball Let's say you have 2 official NBA basketballs. Okay? One of them is signed by Zaire Williams. The other one is just blank. Nobody signed it. Normal basketball. Which one is more valuable? Because I don't know. I might just prefer the normal basketball. Anyways, Book Night went 11th. That crazy bust Book Night. I mean, here's an example of a player with so much potential and was so good in pre-draft workouts that did not pan out. Oh, official. Okay, let's say both. So let's do an example where they're non-game used, which, you could probably say Zaire Williams ball is still more valuable. If it's a game used basketball, okay. I would prefer just an NBA game used basketball over one signed by Zaire Williams. I think I don't want to I don't want to say this. So Knife of Yada says Hero is so overrated. I can't believe some Raptors fans genuinely want him. I agree. I think that sometimes there needs to be recognition. I watch 75 games plus of the Raptors season. So do you guys, because you're here every stream. Like if you're here right now, the names in the chat right now are here every stream, right? You guys watch every game. We are very not trying to like boast or brag, but we are probably in the 95th conservatively percentile of ball knowledge in the fan base. Like, is that icky to say? For a lot of people, I think if you watch every single Raptors game, which Doug, like you pretty much do, it seems, at least most, you are in a high percentile of ball knowledge in the community. A lot of people just don't watch the Raptors to that level. It's fine. I'm not like trying to talk down to people, but I think the more you watch, the more you start to recognize the traits of a winning basketball player versus just a really talented player. And I think Tyler Hero is on the bubble of what becomes a talented player to a winning player. I think Tyler Hero is very good, but in like an elite tier of like winning basketball, I don't think he fits in there. So I think there's a lot of players that, a casual fan who serves box scores, which like with other sports, I do the same thing because I just don't have time for it. And a lot of people don't have time to cover basketball in the same way that I would, or maybe some other people, like the way you guys might be a fan of basketball. There isn't that recognition there. I don't know. Does that make sense? A redraft of the 2021 class would be interesting. Maybe I should do a redraft, huh? Maybe we'll bring that to one of the streams going forward. I will. I definitely want to do a redraft for this one. Non-biased, Scotty Barnes goes first. Sorry. Non-biased, Scotty Barnes goes first. Not sorry, in fact. This was a loaded class at the top. It dropped off quick, though, like I said. Mitchell, Williams, Bouknight, Primo, Duarte, Moody, Kispert. There's a strange little barren period of that draft. Then Şengün, if you guys been watching me, my God, I was begging this fucking team to draft Alperen Şengün. What a shame. He's so good. Trey Murphy went 17, turned into an outstanding role player. Then you have Trey Mann, Kai Jones, Jalen Johnson, Keon Johnson. Keon Johnson, man, I was not correct about him. Geez, wow, I oversold him. Usman Garuba, I thought he would be better, Garuba. Josh Christopher is decent, not panning out. Quentin Grimes, oh, that's good. At 25. Nashawn Highland, who I've never even heard of, actually. Who the fuck is Nashawn Highland? You got Cam Thomas, Jaden Springer, Daron Sharp, Santi Aldama. Rounding off the first round. Herb Jones went 35th. Miles McBride, Deuce McBride went 36. Joe Wieskamp, 41st. David Johnson, Delano Banton, back-to-back. Middle of the second round. It was top-heavy. All right, guys, the game is done. That will just about do it. I'll keep you guys updated on potential for a stream on Thursday. I would, if you do care enough to watch these streams and want to watch streams, I would assume there is no stream on Thursday until you are told otherwise. I will let you guys know if there is going to be a stream. Other than that, I will be streaming Sunday. Draft lottery stream is 100% confirmed, locked in. And guys, I don't want this to sound, again, big-headed or anything, okay? But I very much enjoy the NBA Draft Lottery stream. Bleacher Report offered a watch party on their platform for the NBA Draft Lottery. They offered me a spot to host a Raptors NBA Draft Lottery watch-along. I turned them down to stream here instead. So I turned down a guaranteed paycheck to stream here instead for you guys, because this is the community. This is who I want to share those moments with, okay? So I need you guys to show up. I need you guys to show the support. I know you will. Just letting you know, I'm going to be here Sunday for the NBA Draft Lottery right here on Amateur Hour Sports. I did not sell my soul for this one. We're going to do it here. The biggest moments we got to share with the community. This is one of the big moments. Trying to see what time it starts. Sunday, 3 Eastern? Oh, it's at 3. I'm still streaming it. 3 Eastern? 1,000 plus viewers. I think we'll get like 300 plus concurrent, which means at a time. 3 Eastern? I thought this was an evening thing. Oh, this changes my plans. It's Mother's Day. I was planning a Mother's Day lunch with my mother because I figured this would be in the evening. It's at 3 Eastern on Sunday. I'm gonna double check my schedule look, this is taking premier position. This is the draft live at 3 on Sunday. I gotta talk to moms and tell her I'm coming for dinner. I'm not coming for lunch or brunch. But then Toronto traffic. It's no guarantee I get back in time. Okay, you know what? I'll figure this out off stream, but it looks like it has to be a dinner now. Yeah, this is looking like a dinner with moms. All right. I'm happy I checked that right now, because I would have just operated my entire week thinking yeah, probably 6 or 7 Eastern time. Wait, no. Now I'm seeing a different site that says 8:30 Eastern time. Okay, hang on. All Hawks, whatever, this account says draft lottery, 8:30 p.m. Sunday, May 12th on ESPN. But then I go to NBA. Well, I guess I would trust NBA. Chicago 3 Eastern on ABC. Well, I guess I would have to trust NBA.com. But okay, time, date, TV streaming info. Okay, here we go. Yahoo, blah blah blah. Here we go. 8:30. What is going on, guys? Yahoo says 8:30 on ESPN. NBA says 3 on ESPN. All Hawks says 8:30 on. Sorry, NBA says 3 on ABC. But two other sites says 8:30 on ESPN. Why does the NBA website say 3 Eastern on ABC. Is there like a point here they say 8:30? No, there isn't. What is happening? 2024 NBA Draft Lottery. This is from USA Today. This one says ESPN at 8:30 Eastern time. Okay. Hang on. Rockets Wire. NBA changes to Sunday afternoon time slot for 2024 draft lottery. This was from yesterday. This is yesterday. Hang on. This is yesterday. In recent years, the NBA's draft was taking place on a Tuesday evening prior to an Eastern broadcast of the playoff game, blah, blah. This year, the lottery takes place Sunday, May 12th at 2 p.m. Central, so 3 p.m. Eastern, prior to ABC's broadcast of Game 4 between the Knicks and the Pacers. It seems the league sees value in placing the lottery on over-the-air television as opposed to strictly cable. Oh. Okay, so it appears as though, this is from 5 days ago. Okay, so it appears as though, but this was 7 hours ago. This is from May 6th. This is from yesterday morning-ish. It would appear as though they have very recently changed the NBA draft lottery time to 3 p.m. on Sunday rather than 8:30 p.m. I would also feel inclined to believe the NBA official site. But I am just going to go on Twitter and see if there has been a change. A confirmation on the change. Okay, let's check the NBA draft official account. Don't miss. This is April 22nd. They haven't posted in a while. The NBA draft site hasn't posted in a while. NBA Communications put something. We gotta figure this out. Pool report. Victor, Rookie of the Year. DeAndre Russell find. No, I am still confused. I want to believe the NBA site, but I don't feel confident enough to say for sure that's correct. Okay, well, NBA FAQ from 6 hours ago, apparently. The NBA draft will take place. This draft, sorry, not the draft. One of the draft. Draft lottery will be 3 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Okay. I'm not 100%. I'm pretty close to it, though, now. So they're going to air it right before the Knicks game on Sunday. So now my lunch is going to have to be changed to a dinner. That's okay. Weird time, but okay, that's fine. We'll deal with it. Good thing I checked. The bottom line is NBA draft lottery stream is happening. Confirming it on this YouTube channel on Sunday. Probably won't be streaming Thursday if you guys content for the week. Thursday, I will. Let's pull up the calendar here. Tomorrow, Wednesday, Reed Shepherd draft profile coming at you. 2:30 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. Thursday on the second channel, 3 things I was right about for the Raptors season. It smells like I'm blowing smoke up my ass. Yeah, today I dropped 3 things I was wrong about for the Raptors season on the second channel. So I'm going to do a one that beefs me up a little bit. Friday, a preview for that draft lottery. I did schedule myself in for an off-season stream for you guys on Friday. Maybe I'll give you guys an off-season stream on Friday. So just a general news stream. Along the way, my editor Adam has a couple more clips to work with to post on the Clips channel. Saturday, nothing, chilling. Sunday, draft lottery watch along. Monday, reaction video to said draft lottery. Lots of great content on the way for you guys. Hopefully you are ready. Hopefully you do enjoy what I put out. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate y'all hanging out. You have some drinks this Sunday. Sunday, 3 p.m. That's a weird slot. I don't know. Thursday would be different. Sunday night would be different as well. The Raptors lose their pick, then it would be crushing some pints for sure. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Draft lottery 8:30 would make sense because Nuggets and Wolves are playing. Well, there you go. All right. 3 p.m. Eastern time. I'll be live probably 2:30 for the draft lottery. 2:30 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday. Keep a lookout for that. But lots of videos on the way before then. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. But listen, I know people come here for Raptors content. That's what this channel is. But the fact that you guys come hang out even for just general NBA stuff as well means a lot. Showcase that you do care about the content. You do care about the stuff that I produce, not just the Raptors. So that means a lot. Thanks, guys. Hope you have a great week. And I hope to see you at the next one, whether it be a video, whether it be a stream.